Oh, hello. As 2022 comes to a close, I wanted to look back over this past year and celebrate the best things to happen in Magic the Gathering. And as always, I wanted to focus not on the awesome stuff that our community did for this game. Certainly there was a lot of that, but I wanted to focus on and discuss which changes, which products, which decisions made by Wizards of the Coast were best for this game. All right, look, I'm going to be honest with you. This was a harder year than most to celebrate the positives of Wizards of the Coast's choices in Magic the Gathering. What is especially sad about that statement is that this was the 30-year anniversary of Magic the Gathering, and honestly, a lot of great things did happen this year, but there was still this overwhelming feeling in myself of frustration with the game and, frustration with the company that makes it. And as I wrote this script, I realized that it wasn't a lack of good things to happen in this game that made this video so hard. It was rather all the bad and negative things that happened in this game that made it so hard to see past them, see through that dark shadow into what was positive. And in fact, there were a lot of positives. And you know, that too is one of the dangers of bad corporate decisions, terrible products, and quite frankly, some of the worst public relations imaginable for Magic the Gathering. It detracts from all the good just by bumming everyone out, souring people to all the great things that happened. And there were, in fact, a lot of them. So I hope very much you will join me on this positive journey. Put all that negativity aside and acknowledge that while this may not have been the best year for Wizards of the Coast's image, Magic the Gathering is still the greatest game in the world, and a lot of amazing and positive stuff did happen in 2022, not just by the community, but yes, by the company that makes this game. And so presented here are the top 5 best things to happen in Magic in 2022. But first, an honorable mention. I said that this video would not be looking at the many wonderful and positive things to be brought about by the Magic the Gathering community, but I want to give an honorable mention to something Wizards of the Coast did with the community, specifically the community of artists who design and share imaginative proxy artworks. Even more specifically, I want this honorable mention to focus on Secret Lair, Shades Not Included. For those who may not remember, Secret Lair, Shades Not Included, was where Wizards of the Coast worked with proxy artist Ben Schnuck to take his wildly popular basic land designs and make them an official reality via a secret lair. Now, whether you like this style or not, I personally love this style and had actually commented on it before it was ever a secret lair. But regardless of personal aesthetic, what is so exceptional and positive and praiseworthy about this is that Wizards of the Coast chose to actually work with and support a community figure, a proxy artist, to recognize and reward their passion for the game and the art they created. Now, what I have here is something very special to me. It's a set of the original proxies by Ben, and what I recently acquired was the Secret Lair. I actually got this down at the Gathering series in Mexico City, where I went undefeated in the Pauper tournament, playing the very deck that didn't even make a scratch against Andrea Mengucci in my own Pauper episode. I don't know why, when the camera's on, I can't perform better. I went undefeated, and I had enough prize tickets from doing so to pick up this Secret Lair of Shades Not Included. But I also think it's really cool to have these old original proxies. This is what got the attention of Wizards of the Coast. And from this, they decided to work with such a talented proxy artist to develop the Shades Not Included Secret Lair here. I've been doing this a long time, and the question that comes up so often is, how does a company like Wizards of the Coast support independent creators? Because of course, oh, wow. Interesting to see the difference already between the two. Oop, and I got a little bonus card. Too bad it isn't... Wow, it's bent. Too bad it isn't one by Ben of maybe a waist or something. But you can see here just how lovely these are. What a wonderful way to look at someone who is creating something to make your game better. Tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, we want to support you, and we want to acknowledge what a great idea you had. There are so many other talented artists like Ben dreaming up wondrous things for the world of Magic the Gathering. I love that this is the start of what is hopefully a new, regular, recurring thing from Wizards of the Coast, supporting not only their established talented artists, but the independent ones who are so moved and so passionate about this game that they create wonderful things like this. And Shades Not Included wasn't the only opportunity Wizards of the Coast took to help support the independent creators of Magic the Gathering this year. From positioning cosplayers as a major selling point of the big spectacle events like Magic 30, and from what I have heard, paying them well and treating them with great respect, to sponsoring and supporting fantastic creators like Ristic Studies, who got to see a few videos supported by Wizards of the Coast this year. You know, you have a great creator like this. He's only able to do limited release videos because there's so much work and effort that goes into them. So how does a company like Wizards of the Coast recognize that this is good for the game and want to help support this guy? Well, they sponsor a couple videos, and that's great. That's really fantastic. Same with treating cosplayers so well and helping support them financially by sponsoring them to come out to these big spectacle events. It's great. And all of that is excellent ways to help ensure the people whose work helps make this game a success can be shown the love and support and financial help that will ensure they keep working and making creations for a long, long time. So yes, my honorable mention is not only Secret Lair Shades Not Included, which was the first but hopefully not last time Wizards of the Coast supported with and worked with a proxy artist, but also the support that they showed to many aspects of the Magic the Gathering community, a community of creators that spans from cosplayers to YouTubers. Well, not me, of course, but hey, that's fair. Wait until you see my worst of video. Woohoo! Oh, I really nail it to them. But coming in at number 5, it is well known that 2002 was indeed a huge year for new Magic the Gathering cards, sets, and products. In fact, a few weeks ago, the Magic Data Science account tweeted out this astonishing factoid that 10,498 card variations were printed, encompassing 14.7% of all cards in Magic history, and that 425 new commanders were debuted this year. That's over one per day, as well as many other cool facts. You should definitely go follow this account if you aren't already. This indeed got a lot of attention, most of it negative, but I think it's great. One of the best things to happen in Magic this year. Well, specifically I'm referring to that 425 new commanders. No, really, 425 new commanders in 1 year is fantastic. Now, do not confuse that with things that I absolutely think are negative, such as too many products, spoiler fatigue, rushing through sets, too many sets, and all the other aspects of Magic the Gathering overproduction, oversaturation, and overall burnout. No. 425 new commanders is not the same thing. In fact, it's a great thing. Why? Because it's exactly what Commander needs. Overwhelming choice and overwhelming diversity of commanders. But Commander is a vanity format, a format where you show off your personality and character as a deck builder and player, largely started to be threatened as it exploded in popularity. That's when Wizards of the Coast started designing cards specifically for Commander, pushing out the draft chaff rarities and corner cases and introducing us to the greatest enemy of the Commander format, homogeny. Nothing will kill Commander faster than everyone having the same deck. It's why I railed against made-for-Commander cards, criticized the idea of must-haves and must-runs, lamented the philosophy that if you're in white, you should always have a Smothering Tide. If you're in green, you're of course always going to finish with a Crater Hoof. If you're in blue, you gotta run Cyclonic Rift. And you gotta run Ristic Study. And you gotta run Mystic Remora and Fierce Guardianship. And seriously, Blue, what is your problem? Why can't you just be normal? But by having hundreds, literally hundreds of new commanders injected into the format, you are creating wild and distinct new strategies, new ideas for decks. You create an environment more and more likely for you to sit down and shuffle up and play against commanders you have never seen, strategies you have never thought of, to see cards you forgot you even knew existed. Heck, with that many commanders, there's hundreds of potential commanders from this year you forgot even existed. Again, that's a great commander experience. I can't even name them all. There's literally close to 500. It was more than one a day. Loran, Disciple of History. Asu the Abominable. No, wait, the Indomitable. I didn't even remember what it was called. You might just sit down across from a Maeve, Insidious Singer. A Katasi, the Silent Spider. I loved Queen Kyla bin Krug and what she brought to the commander deck building strategy. And I did silly things this year too. Like I made this wild, less than $50 Amber Gristle Mall deck. And it sucked. It absolutely flat out sucked. And it was the most fun I had running mono red commander since the days of, I don't know, I was the type of person who used to sleeve up Ashling the Pilgrim in 99 Mountains. And that's why I loved this, because in a weird, excessive way, this many new commanders is diluting and overflowing the commander options so much that we're back to the days of, wait, what the hell card is that? I would have hated it if we had only had a fraction of that, and each of them being so spectacular that it's all you sat down to play against game after game. All right, so let's see. So far, I have already praised Wizards of the Coast's relationship with its creators this year, a secret lair, something relating to the plethora of products, and next up, I'm going to praise Universes Beyond. I sure am the endless hater, aren't I? Well, as much as I personally do not enjoy Universes Beyond, credit where credit is due. One of the best things to come out this year was a Universes Beyond product, and that, of course, was the Warhammer 40,000 Commander decks. Now, I will attach the caveat that the pricing of these left much to be desired. In fact, it was pretty appalling when you consider the special all-foil premium versions began in the hundreds of dollars range and now are currently needlessly going for $250 and up each, with the non-premium versions non-premium, going for like $100 and more. Oh, wow. But I have to admit that pricing aside, it's one of the best products of the year. Even in our overprinted and certainly oversaturated Commander world, these decks were a tour de force, with original designs that brought the decks and the individual cards in new and exciting direction. Whoever the team behind designing these decks was, they did great work. They made these decks as though they were the only Commander decks of the year. They wanted to make these so that a brand new player, maybe even someone from Warhammer, could pick them up and sit down with friends in Magic the Gathering, or just other friends who had joined Magic the Gathering and play right out of the box, but they also needed to make them appealing to the already very established, very enfranchised Magic the Gathering Commander players, and they succeeded. These cards are great, these legendaries exciting. The designs generated so much positive conversation in the community, and there were even a lot of really great reprints. It was everything a Commander product should be. Besides the price, the only inevitable sadness to these decks is, why can't all Commander products be as good as these? Or more accurately, why can't the products that are less expensive, such as those $20 to $25 Commander decks of this very same year, be this well made? The answer? Because they don't cost as much, so they're not going to put in the same level of effort. Besides the price, the only inevitable sadness to these decks is, why can't all Commander products be as good as these? Or more accurately, why can't the products that are less expensive, such as those $20 to $25 Commander decks of this very same year, be this well made? The answer? Because they don't cost as much, so they're not going to put in the same level of effort. Though of course such laments and longings are for another video. All right, moving along to the best 3 things of this year. What if I added Wizards of the Coast support for local game stores to our list? No, really, there were some major strides made towards helping put emphasis not only on paper magic, but positioning that emphasis not on big box stores like Target and Walmart, but instead on the local game store. And that has been the bold and now continuing changes to pre-release, which started way back in New Capenna. Now, I had an entire video praising this when New Capenna hit. And yes, New Capenna was this year. Oh my god. But the change that local game stores would be the first place ahead of digital that you would be able to play with new sets was a positive one. And I've always maintained that being able to just log on to Magic Online well ahead of local game stores getting product is a terrible blow to the very community that is so critical to Magic's success. All of that is off camera. I've never advocated for digital to have to wait longer for access, only that they should get it at the same time as the local game stores, whatever that time may be. And in a very recent announcement set to carry us into the new year, the greatest change yet to pre-release will be taking place. The cards you get at pre-release will be legal in their respective formats the moment you get your hands on them. Now, before you say, but isn't that ending pre-release? Wait, it's actually reinforcing and strengthening it, because the only place pre-release takes place at is your local game store, which means supporting your local game store will get you the legal cards you need for everything from standard to commander to modern to even pauper 1 whole week ahead of Target, Walmart, and yes, even Amazon. I want to be clear on this. You should be writing, you should be tweeting, you should be doing whatever the heck it is you kids do these days for communication. TikTok? Is it TikTok? You should be TikToking, whatever it is, you should be doing it towards Wizards of the Coast with praise for this change. This is one of the best things to happen for the local game store in forever. It has firmly positioned them ahead of big box stores and even ahead of Amazon, tied them onto even ground with digital clients like Magic Online and Arena, and let's be honest, it just makes a heck of a lot of sense that once you own the cards, you should be able to just play with them. Bravo again. Coming in at number 2 is a product that returned in 2022 after being gone for, you guessed it, 2 years. It's Jumpstart 2022, not to be confused in any way, even a little, with Jumpstart Brothers War or Jumpstart Dominaria United. Jumpstart 2022 was the true Jumpstart product of the year, and it was one of the best products overall. Jumpstart 2022 was filled with both brand new card designs and reprints. And best of all, it wasn't marked up. Whereas we currently see boxes of the original Jumpstart available for very close to its intended MSRP, Jumpstart 2022 was offered at the usual reasonable booster pack price, meaning you and a friend could indeed pick up a full booster box or just a couple packs each, crack them open, and shuffle up and play. No relation. This is one of the most important aspects of Jumpstart 2022. It's also one of the reasons why those other fake Jumpstarts failed. This isn't just about new card designs, and it isn't just about reprints. Those things are there, and they're there in force, but they come second to a gameplay experience, something that Magic the Gathering largely is lacking as it shifts its priorities to collectibles, special treatments, things like that. Jumpstart 2022 is about being played, and it can be played by everyone, enjoyed by everyone, and when you're done with that gameplay, you've got all these great pieces to either keep together for a repeatable gameplay experience, or take apart to build commander decks, place those reprints in constructed decks. Whatever it is you want to do, Jumpstart 2022 has it. It's still on shelves. Going all the way back to the starting point of this video where I lamented that all the bad of this year may have diminished people's ability to recognize all the cool things that happened, I worry that the absolute garbage that was Jumpstart Dominaria United and Jumpstart Brothers War may have hindered people's ability to see and appreciate just how great Jumpstart 2022 really was. And it was. It was one of the best things to happen this year. So what was the best thing that happened this year? Well, it was, in many ways, one of the truest Magic the Gathering experiences of the year. You know, I'll be honest with you. I often look at Magic the Gathering and say to myself, I recognize this game less and less. Not just the intense product release schedule or the shift from Standard and Draft to Commander and, well, Commander, it's become Commander the Gathering, but much of what the company that makes this game often feels like it has become makes me feel like someone who well, spent his life playing something else. But there was one shining moment this year where I really felt I was back in that old game that I knew. And that's why the best thing to happen in Magic the Gathering in 2022 was not a corporate decision, was not a pre-constructed product, was not a supplemental product, was not a secret layer, but it was a set. A Magic the Gathering set. What once was the center of this game. And that set was Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty was the apotheosis of a Magic the Gathering set. The draft and limited environment was extraordinary, deep, rich, and complex. Much like the individual design of the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty cards were. Cards which found potent and distinct homes not only in Standard, but in formats like Modern, Commander, and even Legacy. The flavor, the cards, the themes. The fact that this was undoubtedly both something new and firmly, so firmly, a world of Magic the Gathering. The story as told through the cards themselves got players interested and excited for what was happening. And the story outside of the cards, new creative ways to immerse oneself in this world, combined with the return of the weekly Magic stories, all culminated in one of the best sets ever. I remember the community's collective gasp as Tamiyo was revealed to have been completed. The thrill of their electric trailer, everything, all of it left us wanting more. Never have I wanted a return to the traditional 3-block structure more so than with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. We should have at least spent 2 sets there, right? This truly is flavor for us to savor, and to describe this set as a home run does not even do it justice. It was better than that. In my evaluation, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty wasn't just the best thing to happen in Magic the Gathering in 2022, it was one of the best sets in years. As I said, with the quality of construction for those Warhammer decks, why? Please tell me, why can they not simply all be this good? But these, as always, were just my top 5 of 2022. How do they compare to last year's? And more importantly, what do you think were the best things to happen in Magic the Gathering this year? Let me know in the comments below. My list of the worst of 2022 is indeed coming. Will, of course, get double the views of this episode as it always does, but I invite you to share and support the more than half of my content that is positive, such as this, but often goes ignored. Share with a friend, post to social media, watch another episode of my channel after this. You know, I've produced not 1 but 2 episodes of Shuffle Up and Play in the last 2 weeks. A proper popper challenge with Andrea Mengucci, Lua Stardust, and Tori of the Vast, as well as a highly humorous episode where Aaron Hansen of Game Grumps brings his favorite Modern deck to play against my own. Spoilers, they both ended up being Modern Merfolk. But whether you do watch another episode after this, or you just want to shuffle up and play with your own friends, remember, when it is possible, when it is reasonable to do so, try and spend your money where you spend time playing this great game. And that's at your local game store whenever possible. You're supporting your Magic the Gathering community. Especially when you attend a pre-release, which you should maybe consider pre-registering for. They are absolutely 100% worth it.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
I have given $50 to build a deck with, including Commander.
I've brought Safara Sky's Blade.
I'm playing Hidetsugu, the Varying Chaos.
I'm playing Gorex, the Tomb Shell.
My deck costs only $30. What do you folks say? We shuffle up and play. I will tap for mana and play an assault suit.
Yeah. Oh. How come you know so much about Command? Oh, right.
Play Knight Incarnate, but I'm gonna do its port Invoke.
Ooh. Knight Incarnate.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
How do you feel about lethality?
How would it be more than feel about lethality?